My elementary school principal, Mr. Marcella, was a very good friend of mine and a good friend of the family's. And I remember I was doing a book report in 4th grade on the explorer Bartholomew Diaz, and I had told him about it a couple weeks before, and I told him how excited I was and how I was working really hard and I was really nervous. And that was the last time we spoke of it, and on the day of my presentation, right before I went up, he walked in and he sat in the back of the class, and he remembered that I had my presentation that day, and it made me feel really, really great that my principal, out of all the hundreds of other kids that were there, he came for my presentation, and that he remembered that how important it was to me.
A leader to me is a person that leads. It is like you show people that's not a leader yet to do things that a good leader should do.
It's somebody who is a positive role model. It's somebody who leads by design rather than by demand.
They should be intelligent, a good leader, responsible and organized.
An effective leader is one who is able to be a good listener, a good observer, one who is very careful about reaching a conclusion without spending time to thoroughly look at all aspects of an issue.
I think a leader should be caring, and she should be able to have control of things.
Someone that you could look up to.
Leadership is the ability to move people to accomplish a common goal. Oftentimes it's a good leader leads by example, leads by integrity, leads by courage, leads by all those qualities that set people apart.
To be an effective leader, you have to have a mission, you have to have goals, but most of all you have to believe in what it is you're doing. And you have to be able to communicate that belief to the people who you lead, because they have to believe that you know where you're going, you know how to get there, and you know how to get them there.
And I think people basically will, will pick up and clue in on that and respect them, and that's important.
Toughest job in a school district is being the principal of any level school. It requires leadership on at least 5 different levels. It requires a passion to make sure that children achieve all they can achieve, and at the same time motivating teachers, coordinating with parents and making them feel part of the family. all the support services, being tough, being a disciplinarian, at the same time being he or she must love the children. So it's the most difficult job, requires every bit of leadership, and it's the greatest challenge anyone could take up.
Well, I think that they should have a vision for the development of the school program.
Principals are quarterbacks, if I can use the football analogy. They are the ones who may very well be calling the plays and certainly leading the team, but they have to maintain the concept of a team approach, and that no principal does it by himself or herself. You need the support of your instructional and non-instructional staff in order to really run an effective school.
Organizational and management skills are important.
The principal is the instructional leader of the school, has the responsibility of making certain that every teacher is delivering the core curriculum or whatever other subjects they may be teaching in an appropriate, effective manner to the students in their classroom. The first responsibility of the principal in doing this is helping teachers grow. Teachers who may be having trouble with classroom management or with lesson planning or with presentation have to be given an opportunity, and it's up to the principal to provide these opportunities to learn, to grow, to become effective teachers.
To be a good educational leader, you have to be a good listener. You have to have your eyes opened. You have to look at all perspectives, of what's going on.
Certainly emotional intelligence.
I think it's important that principals or people who want to be principals are good problem solvers, because I think sometimes they are they're sort of presented with a problem, whether it's a student's problem or a teacher's problem or a parent's problem, and they sort of need to figure out a way to make a decision that has the school's best interest in mind.
But then they need to be steeped in the knowledge of instruction and our academic content. They need to be steeped in what it means to establish good relationships with their staff, with their parents, with their students. They need to understand what it looks like to move from paper to reality, what they know about academic and instruction and support and assessments, and how do you transform that into the everyday life of the school, the culture and the breadth of the school to make it alive.
A fairness to the students and the staff.
A good leader, a good principal relates to teachers. They do it within their personality, they're true to themselves, and they bring the best out of the teachers. And they have to know their teachers, because each person has to be treated differently.
My principal is always supportive. If I have something, if I have an idea, or if I see a situation that I think needs to be addressed, she's always willing to listen. She has an open door policy, so I can talk, I can communicate with her. At least I feel I can communicate with her, and she'll effectively handle what's going on.
I think that a very good principal needs to have the ability to multitask, certainly have a high level of energy, and above all, patience.
Be willing to listen to teachers, parents, and kids as well.
As a teacher, I would want an educator who's an energetic motivator, someone who's reasonable and open-minded, and certainly one who stimulates vision for the future of the school.
I think someone who wants to be a principal needs to be a good listener. I think that they need to listen to teachers, parents, students, and take into consideration all of their ideas and all of their needs, and sort of be able to address all of them.
A good principal should be open-minded, willing to take suggestions, determined, focused. A good principal should also know how to work with people and be a good listener, and someone who is, most of all, trustworthy. They should be very trustworthy. They should be a strong disciplinarian and able to manage the school well.
relationships. And it's about setting a very high bar for everyone and then giving people the support and the flexibility to reach that high standard in many different ways. And so in a very real sense, they have to help people navigate the different strategies and ways that it takes to meet a very high standard. But the relationship has to be one of high expectations, but also setting the support necessary for staff members to reach those expectations.
A principal should be a person who demonstrates leadership, who is trustworthy, and who values the student's opinion.
I think the most important quality that a high school principal or any kind of principal should have is that they're there for the students. They have a personal relationship with all the students. They know everyone's names, and they truly listen to the needs of the students and what the students want.
And she's very respectful to all of us, and that's what all principals should have. Because if you don't have respect for other children, then you won't get respect back.
I think that would make a good principal is you have to respect the children, not just have them respect you. You're not supposed to.
I think a principal should be nice to a certain extent where they can feel comfortable with him, but then also show them that he is the person that they should respect.
What makes her a good principal is that she cares about all the children and she cares about the whole school.
I like when my principal comes into class.
Okay, I think that the principal should be visiting classrooms. The kids know, who the principal is. I think I've had principals that have come into the classrooms and engaged in conversation with the children, and really the kids felt that the principal had a real interest in what they were doing and what they were learning and cared about them.
Thinking back to my childhood as a student, I think the most important thing that I admired about my principal is that she was visible.
I think it's important for principals to attend sporting events and to attend shows and attend other outside of school competitions and things like that, so that they sort of get to know the students on a more personal level, and that way they can figure out what the students need and how they can be most helpful to the students.
I like when the principals are involved in the school, know what's going on and when stuff is going on, and just be there, actually be involved with students. And when you see that a principal knows a lot of the students' names, I think that kind of matters, because even though it just sounds like just names, it's also he has a whole bunch of students, and to know some people's names is nice to know that he is involved with all of us.
Positive role model, somebody who's honest, humble, and showing sincerity, and what their students' success level is, or encouragement and all those kinds of things really still apply even to the student. They will emulate that at the same point. For instance, if you walk around and criticize all day or yell at or whatever the case is in a punitive fashion, then kids are going to start, or students in general, are going to kind of pick up on those kinds of ears. So it would be better to go around and and encourage and praise people and to be supportive and to ask them to be accountable for their behaviors as well as their academic success. And I think if you do that and you build that kind of an environment that's more positively driven, more positively managed, whether it's with teachers or students, I think that will just kind of naturally come about.
I would hope that the principal knows the curriculum so that he or she knows what the kids are learning in class, and someone who's a good listener, someone who listens to the students and the teachers, and thanks and congratulates the staff and the students for their successes and their efforts.
Our principal, it was Halloween day, and all the kids got dressed up in their little costumes and stuff to kind of have fun. And then I'm in the hallway, and here comes the principal coming down the hallway in this big king outfit, like a card. And I just thought that was very creative, and it was very funny, and made me feel like the principal was just a part of our student body the same way we were, and we could just interact with him just like we were to another student.
Principals have to love children.
Lead in Philly.
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 It's a great privilege to lead in Philly, and I want to wish all the principals the best of luck.